and Defense and State. We're going to be recessing today at 4:30.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everyone, please be seated. And Cindy, we're off the record. So ladies and gentlemen, I know sometimes people will say that their employment doesn't really know that you all are here or something. So if any of you ever need a letter from the court, just let us know and we'll make sure that you have one. All right, if you'll take your seat, please. All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll state your name for the record, please, and spell your last name.
Roman Chavarria, last name Chavarria.
All right, state you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Officer Chavarria. How are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed by the city of San Antonio.
And what is your current title and assignment with the city of San Antonio?
I am a police officer. I work for the patrol unit.
How long have you been a police officer with SAPD?
4 years now.
Okay. Can you please describe to the jury the training that you underwent to become a patrol officer?
Yes, we undergo a 32-week academy, and once you graduate that, you'll go out to a field training position, and you'll go through 14 more weeks with another officer who trains you out in the field. Once you complete that, you'll have another year of probationary period where you'll still receive training, and then you'll finally have your full patrolman position.
Okay. And in your current role, are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And as a patrol officer with SAPD, what are your duties generally?
Reporting to 911 calls, any emergency calls, like your vehicle accidents, any burglaries of homes, vehicles, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, were you employed as a police officer with the San Antonio Police Department on October 19th of 2023?
Yes.
And did you have the same title and assignment like as a patrol officer?
Yes.
Okay. And so on that day, did you get assigned to a call under SAPD 2323-5274?
Yes.
Do you recall how you became involved in that case?
Yes. I was actually handling a separate call when I heard another officer, Officer Vizcarra, on the radio. He had initially said that he was going to need more officers for somebody who had barricaded themselves inside of their home. And it caught my attention, but I continued working what I was doing. And then I would say about 2, 3 minutes later, it's when he gets on the radio. He says, I'm hit, and it caught my attention. That's when I returned to my laptop. I noticed that I was probably 2, 3 miles away from him. So I just started driving up that way.
Okay. And then upon arrival at the scene, can you just describe to the jury what you observed?
Out there, I was probably officer number, let's say 15, 16. There's a bunch of cars out there. Everybody's running in the direction of a house. So I get out of my vehicle and I put on my rifle vest and I begin to run towards where everybody else is running towards.
And when you say you put your rifle vest on, is that like a different type of vest?
Yes, it's a piece of body armor that's supplied to us that, for example, this piece of body armor that I have on, it's only rated for handgun type rounds, but the rifle vest will protect against rifle rounds.
Okay. And so Did you begin to approach the suspect residence at the time?
Yes.
Were you able to just walk straight up to the residence, or how did you have to go about approaching the residence?
Due to the nature of the call, everybody there, including myself, we began to kind of hide behind vehicles or any structures as we closed in on the home, just for our safety.
Okay. Once you arrived at the suspect residence, did you observe the suspect in any manner?
Yes.
What was he doing? I guess, were there other officers that were also close to the residence at the time?
Yes.
Okay, did you hear anyone giving verbal commands to the suspect?
Yes.
Okay. And then what did you observe the suspect do?
The suspect, once I was approaching the home, the suspect was outside of the residence. He had his hands behind his head, and he was walking backwards towards the officer who was giving him the commands.
Okay. And so then at that time, after the commands are given to the suspect, what did you do?
I closed in with another officer while they continued to call him backwards. Uh, I went ahead and holstered my weapon and prepared to make the apprehension.
Okay. Did the defendant eventually lay down on the floor?
Yes, after he was commanded to do so.
Okay. And once he did that, what did you do?
We kind of just all, got on top of him, got a control of his hands, and then placed him in handcuffs.
Okay. Once you placed him in handcuffs, did you perform like a pat down?
Yes,
And why is that?
just to ensure he had no other firearms, weapons, or any, other thing that could hurt us on his person.
Okay. Then after you got him into custody, or detained him in handcuffs, did he make any statement to you about San Antonio Police Department officers?
Yes, he did say his words were, "Did I hit any of your brothers?"
And what was your response to him?
While I was walking him to the patrol vehicle, there was a large amount of blood where one of the officers was struck by gunfire. And my response was just take a look at the ground.
Okay. After that, did you place him in the patrol vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And then later on, was it determined that the suspect was to be taken to headquarters to provide a statement?
Yes.
And are you the individual that transported him?
Yes.
Now, in between the time that you placed him in the patrol car and the time that he was transported to SAPD headquarters, did the defendant have some issues with his handcuffs?
Yes. He had initially said they were bothering his wrists, so I guess the position they were placed in. So there were adjustments made. I did correct the way his handcuffs were on.
Okay. And was he wearing anything that you determined could have possibly been bothering his hands at the time?
Not that I recall now.
Okay. Do you recall about how many times you adjusted the handcuffs for him?
It was 4 times.
Okay. And at the time that you took the defendant into custody, were you wearing a body worn camera?
Yes.
And then was your car also equipped with a recording device?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show you what has been marked as state exhibit number 112 and state exhibit number 113. Can you take a look at those for me? Have you viewed the contents of state exhibits 112 and 113 prior to your testimony today?
Yes, I have.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of your body worn camera and in-car video at the time that the offense occurred?
Yes, they are.
And except to comply with legal rules, have they been altered in any way?
No.
Okay. At this time, state offers state exhibits 112 and 113 tendering to defense firms.
All right, could parties
Sorry,
approach?
Judge, I thought.
I'm sorry, could parties approach? And state which exhibit are you offering into evidence?
Judge, I misspoke earlier, so I'm offering State's Exhibit 112 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 112 is admitted without objection. Granted.
Okay, so Officer Clavadia, on State's Exhibit number 112, what are we seeing you do currently?
That's when I throw over my rifle vest, and I'm currently moving towards where I'm watching everybody else move towards.
And when you said that you were using structures in the area for cover, would that include like the fence that we're seeing now in other homes and cars in the area?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody else behind you. Somebody in the road, I just had to. I like a little bit for the gate for Howard. It's here. That's the fun. Continue to hold the year, clear your house. Are you looking at clear house? Look at the photo. Yes.
Now, Officer Chavarria, as we see in the State's Exhibit 112, it appears that you acted to place the defendant in handcuffs, and there were other officers that entered to clear the home. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, for efficiency purposes, I'm going to fast forward to 19 minutes, 42 seconds, and no, 19:42:40. Excuse me. And Officer Chavarria, what we're seeing currently is this one of the times that you adjusted the handcuffs.
Yeah.
And I guess, does it appear that the defendant was wearing a watch that you believed was interfering with his wrists at the time?
Yes,
And did you remove that from him with his consent?
I did.
Okay. At this time, we pass a witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
Officer Trevia, just a few questions. My name is Ernest Acevedo. If you don't understand anything, or if you don't hear me, please let me know, okay?
Sir.
Okay, we didn't hear anything up until shortly before you get to the house in question, but I think there's a relevant piece of information you might have. You did hear, as you were running towards the house, that Jesse, the suspect, was surrendering himself. Like he yelled out he was going to surrender to police, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so there's a process when you're going to take somebody into custody who's committed a felony, especially like a violent felony. There, you do it very safely, correct?
Correct.
So now, were you able to see kind of how it started? Because I guess from your body cam, the first thing we see is kind of when he's in the yard backward with his hands up. Did you hear the instructions that they were yelling when he was at his doorway?
From what I recall, they were just telling him to keep his hands up and, move to the sound of the, whoever's voice was taking commands.
So normally in that situation, there's somebody who takes command of the orders on what you want a suspect to do, to do when they're surrendering.
Correct.
They all oftentimes like have them lift up their shirt to make sure there's nothing there, keep their hands up so that they can't do anything with their hands. The hands are the most dangerous things that you can do something with, right? If there's a weapon or something.
Yes, sir.
And so then you have him, he's backwards because you're more dangerous facing police officers than with your back to them, right?
Correct.
All right, now he followed every command that he was given as far as you can tell, right?
Yes.
And so he surrendered exactly the way you're supposed to once you give yourself up to the police, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now we did get to the part of the audio where there were some police officers yelling, is there anybody in the house? Maybe to other officers, maybe to him. But with his hands up, he said there's nobody else in the house besides his pets, right? Or the dog, I think he said.
Yes.
You remember hearing that on your video?
Mhm.
Okay. During the takedown, I mean, that's a kind of a rough process when you're taking somebody down for a felony, you know, that's protocol, right? You take somebody down to make sure that they can't hurt anybody, right?
Correct.
And that can mean 5 people with knees on your back or your neck, your legs, things like that. To make sure that if they change their mind and want to start fighting or something, they're not in a position where they can do that, right?
Yes, whatever it takes to just control somebody.
Okay, but he was completely cooperative during the takedown, right?
Yes.
He didn't resist at all. And there was looks like there's 5 or 6 police officers on him at the time in that scenario, right?
Yes.
Okay. You told the prosecutors about the comment, whether he was asking whether he hit any other officers, and I guess your comment was just basically something to look at the blood on the ground.
Yes, sir.
I mean, his reaction just, I mean, there was something he said back to it. It was just like shit when he saw the blood. Did that seem malicious, or was it more like, oh shit, I did something bad?
It was like, yeah, he's, he messed up.
Okay. Now you put him into that car you put him in, that was one of the original responding officers' cars, right?
Yes, sir.
So then at some point he sat there for a while. At some point he goes to another car. And then at some point, I guess he went to your patrol car.
Yes, sir.
And at some point you're the one who took him downtown to see if he would give a statement.
Yes, sir.
And is that pretty much your involvement in this case?
Pretty much.
Okay. Those were all the questions I had. Thank you very much. I'll pass the witness.
Any further questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. When you go and book somebody in the Bexar County Jail, is there a standard set of questions that you have to ask them regarding mental health before they can be booked?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and off the top of your head, do you recall what some of the questions are?
Yes.
What are they?
The 4 questions are, have you ever been diagnosed as having a mental illness by a doctor or mental health professional? The second question is, have you ever or currently taken?
Your Honor, can I just make a quick objection? I just don't think this is not brought up in direct, so I don't think it's appropriate for redirect.
That'll be overruled.
You can proceed.
The second question is, have you ever or currently taking any medications for mental illness? The third question is, have you ever tried to kill yourself? And the fourth question is, do you currently have thoughts of killing yourself?
Okay, and the defendant in this case was asked those questions prior to being booked at the Bexar County Jail, correct?
Correct.
And he answered no to all of those questions, right?
Correct.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Excused by state, Your Honor.
He can be excused, Judge.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony or view anything about this trial until this trial has concluded. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. If you'll leave the square microphone behind, please. All right, state, call your next witness.
State House Detective Ronald Soto.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please.
Okay.
To raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that everyone can hear. And if you could state your name and spell your last name, please, for the record.
Okay, Detective Ronald Soto, SOTO.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Detective Soto. Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury and let them know what you do, how long you've been with SAPD?
Yeah, Detective Ronald Soto. I work in the homicide unit. I've been with the San Antonio Police Department for approximately 22 years now. Before that, I worked in the night CID unit, which is like a night detective unit that handles cases overnight before like homicide and SVU cases. And it's been about 10 years on patrol prior to that.
Prior to being or becoming a San Antonio Police Department, do you have any military or educational background that's relevant to what you do?
No military, but I did work at Bexar County for like about a year and a half before coming to the SAPD.
When you say Bexar County, what do you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, the Bexar County Sheriff's Department.
Okay, were you a sheriff's deputy or did you work at the jail?
I was a deputy, I worked inside jail.
Okay. So what year did you join SAPD?
In 2003.
And when you first joined a police department, do you have to go through any specialized training?
Yes, we have to go through a police academy. I believe at the time our police academy lasted approximately like 7 months. It might still be the same, I'm not sure.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, I am.
And how long did you spend in patrol before you moved to a different unit?
I did about 10 years in patrol before I promoted to detective.
So you spent about 10 years doing the same things and responding to the same kinds of calls that Officer Swain and Officer Bexar did on this day?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then at that 10-year mark, what did you move on to?
That's when I tested and I promoted to detective.
And you started out in night CID, is that correct?
Actually, when I first promoted, I was in the CSI unit temporarily for maybe like 6 months. And then I went to night CID.
And you said night CID is that, and correct me if my description of it is wrong, is that kind of like a triage unit where if a crime happens after business hours, you guys come in and do what you can at the time, and then when business hours resume, the appropriate follow-up unit will continue the investigation?
Yes, ma'am. And for every unit, we handle all felonies that happen overnight. It can be property crimes, robberies, family violence, and then of course, ag assaults and murders.
Okay. And then what year did you join the homicide team?
2022 is when I went to homicide.
And it's called homicide, but is all you do homicide?
Well, we handle officer involved shootings and murders.
Okay. And I guess just the unit in general, the unit homicide also handles aggravated assaults and things like that.
Yeah, so it's broken into, it's called homicide, but there's basically 2 divisions. One side's ag assaults and the other side is where the murder detectives are. And we have, like I said, all suspicious deaths, officer involved shootings, in custody, deaths, stuff like that.
Okay. And so on October 19th of 2023, were you on duty with the homicide unit?
Yes.
And because you said homicide detectives also do officer involved shootings, were you also responsible if some sort of officer involved shooting went down, you had to be responsible for it when you were on duty that day?
Yes, and the way it works is we work on a rotation. So but when this incident happened, I was actually like the next detective up.
Okay, so you were assigned to investigate this incident that we've been here talking about that happened at the intersection of Amistad Pass and Alta Puerta?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you write a report in relation to your involvement and investigation into this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have a copy of it there with you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You can use it to refresh your memory, just please don't read directly from it, okay?
Okay.
Now, do
And I'm
you
sorry,
know-
counsel, for the record, could you
Oh,
label the
yes, ma'am.
report?
So we'll label it as B, okay, we'll label this as case exhibit B just for,
All right, thank you.
okay, and again, just for the record, would you tell the jury what the case number is that this case was investigated under?
Yes, it was a SAPD, excuse me, 23-5274.
And that case number stays with an investigation, and that gets put on all the supplement reports, all the items of evidence, anything that is related to this investigation so that you can make sure that things get tagged to the right case.
Yes.
And when you get a case like this, an officer involved shooting, whether or not there are any hits, if somebody discharges a weapon, there's an officer involved shooting, correct? The
Yes.
investigation, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
And what are the steps that you have to take when you begin an investigation into an incident like this?
Well, in this case, there was already, like I said, the night CID was actually on duty when this happened. It happened after our shift, actually. I was just working late that day. And they're out there, the first person I'm gonna contact when I get out there is gonna be, probably a night CID detective and the shoot commander, which in this case, I think was Lieutenant Prado.
What is the shoot command?
There's like someone in charge that's in charge of, that's handling that shooting, is gonna be an incident like commander for that shooting. Depending on how big the scene is, there could be like a, separate, area set up, like a command center set up. But in this case, we didn't have that. Lieutenant Padulico was actually there on scene when I got there.
When you respond to an incident like this, would you typically, attempt to speak to the officer that discharged their weapon?
Yes, that would be one of at the scene, typically, no, we would wait, they would go downtown first. And just depending on the circumstances of the situation, that would dictate whether or not we would talk to them then or set up, a later meeting with them to take their statement.
Was that available to you in this incident?
No,
Okay. So what were the steps that you took in this incident, since the officer who discharged his weapon, as well as the other officer who was actually, well, they were both shot, but the other officer who was also shot? Since they weren't there for you to talk to, what steps did you take to begin your investigation?
so in this case, like I said, I spoke with the night detective, Lieutenant Puerto Rica, and then whatever witnesses they had already separated, I would talk to them, decided which ones I'm gonna send back to police headquarters, which ones I might just take a statement from them there, or if they could even go back to headquarters, sometimes they can't. Any officers at the scene, usually the witness officers are actually gonna go back no matter what to headquarters. But there might be some other officers there that know a little about what's going on because maybe they're standing with a witness or protecting some of the crime scene evidence.
Apart from talking to witnesses, do you do anything else in the area to collect evidence that might be relevant to your investigation?
Yes, ma'am, I'm looking for a video, and just kind of walking the scene again, just maybe there's someone that was missed that lives in the area that the officers didn't talk to, and I might canvass also for that.
Did you do that?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
And were you successful in collecting surveillance video from surrounding houses?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
The defendant's home, was the surveillance system on his home, was it operational?
No.
Okay. Speaking of the defendant, again, just for record purposes, I'm gonna fast forward and then I'll come back. When an individual gets arrested for an offense and then booked at the Bexar County Jail, do they have to get assigned a unique identification number?
Yes, ma'am, that's called a SID number.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you please tell the members of the jury what Mr. Prado's SID number was when he was booked at the Bexar County Jail?
His SID number is 925624.
Thank you. Okay, so you talked to witnesses at the scene. You said the term witness officers. Who in this case were considered witness officers to this incident?
Well, in this incident, it's gonna be the officers that were actually assisting, that actually went in there and helped out Officer Swain and Officer Bexar.
Okay, so that was Officer Reitmeyer,
Yes.
Deason, and Saber?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so how are those officers treated differently than the other officers that we've seen on the video that come in to assist and clear the house and take him into custody and things like that?
Just because like they're part of the overall incident, they're right there, they're kind of seeing what's going on, they're actually hearing shots. They're directly related to the incident. That's why they were brought downtown to give statements.
And that's what I was gonna say. So they
Yeah.
give statements as opposed to like writing reports.
Yeah, yes, and they go downtown and they give actually a statement to a detective. We'll assign a detective to them downtown at headquarters and they'll provide a statement there.
And the other officers who assist in, again, taking the defendant into custody and clearing the house and collecting evidence, things of that nature, assisting with talking to witnesses, do they write reports?
Yes, ma'am, they write reports, but they'll write like a supplement report, so they'll actually type out their own supplement report and submit it with the case.
Okay. And as far as talking to the neighbors, do you recall who you were able to, I guess, kind of in the immediate vicinity? You were able to identify Anthony Casares as a witness, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Joshua Royale?
Yes, ma'am.
And after collecting all of this evidence and talking to these witnesses and trying to identify who has the most pertinent and relevant information, do you then, what do you do next, I guess?
After that, after I was going through getting video, I'm making sure like everything's gonna get collected that we need. Obviously, the night detectives did a great outstanding job. They, had already got a warrant worked on for the house. Again, they even helped canvass. I think a couple of the night detectives even took, statements for me out there with people that couldn't come downtown. And I'm just making sure all that is, there. I'm getting organized. I'm collecting all that, making sure I get all the information from them as well. And just like I said, I'm overseeing, just until everything is cleared with the CSI unit, that everything's collected that we need to get it collected.
And then when you go downtown, do you sit down and kind of try to absorb it all?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So when I get back, I'll talk to the, officers who, the detectives who had took statements from the, officers, from the AP, the suspect. And just, I try to gather everything, put everything together and try to get organized. Sometimes there can be a lot of stuff that we gotta put together.
And is part of your job as being the lead investigator in this incident, being from not just telling people what to do and collecting evidence, but being familiar with the evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
And why do you need to be familiar with all of the evidence?
We just gotta know, at what part that stuff played and everything in the case. So yeah, it's important to be familiar with all the evidence in the case, just so we know. It's like, it's like a puzzle, you're putting it together and we just gotta be able to view everything and place it in its proper content.
Are you gonna be the one who ultimately makes the decisions if the officer's use of their weapon was justified?
It's, my input is in there, but, like I said, we have the incident commander, we also have the sergeants, and we also have like, lieutenants that we will all get together and we'll talk about, especially on officer involved shootings.
And then if anybody needs to be charged with a crime, as in this case, is that your decision?
In this case, this came out, this, was a decision I made, but again, it's a big, the unit as a whole, generally on an officer involved shooting, get together and we'll talk about all the details of the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't make your recommendation or make that decision if you don't know all of the evidence, correct?
Yes, ma'am, correct.
So in this case, did the defendant, Mr. Prado, did he give an interview?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
And have you watched that interview in its entirety?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I have.
And did that interview play a significant role in your decision to ultimately charge him with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon to public service?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
May I approach? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Detective, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 114. Do you recognize 114?
Yes, ma'am.
Is State's Exhibit 114 a fair and accurate copy of the interview of the defendant, Jesus Prado?
Yes.
We'd offer into evidence State's Exhibit 14.
Defense would like to offer it as well.
All right, and it states Exhibit 114.
I'm sorry, 114, yes. Ma'am.
All right, states Exhibit 114 is admitted without objection.
May I publish?
Yes.
All right, Detective Soto, how long does the video appear to be?
Video, let's see here, looks like it's cut off over here. I can't. Yeah, 4 hours and 50 minutes.
Okay, we're not gonna watch 4 hours and 50 minutes. Is he talking for 4 hours and 50 minutes?
No, ma'am, he's not.
So for efficiency purposes, I'm gonna fast forward to the beginning of his interview.
And you also. Yeah, I thought they're gonna go straight right then. No, wait a minute, I won't. Maybe so they. Oh. We're short, we managed. Oh, yeah, you haven't seen, I'll be right with you. Yeah. Thank you, so here again. Oh. Hey, let me have your full name and date of birth. This is Prado, Detective Martinez, 21783. Okay, I'm stepping up, get over to the police department. Hey, before you get started, I need to read you something. And what I'd like to do is read you this, get some information from you, let's talk about what's going on, what battle talk and stuff. Yes, sir. Right? Yes, sir. It's warning to rescue your suspect. Before you ask any questions, my duty as a police officer to advise you of your rights and warn you of the consequences of waiving your rights. You have a right to remain silent. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. You do not have to make any statement, oral or written to anyone. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. Any statement that you make will be used in evidence against you in a court of law at your trial. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. You have the right to have a lawyer present to advise you before and during any question by police officers or attorney representing you. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. You may have your own lawyer present, or if you're unable to employ a lawyer, the court will appoint your lawyer free of charge now or at any other time. Do you understand that? Yes, sir. If you decide to talk with anyone, you can, and you can stop talking to them at any time you want. You understand that? Yes, sir. The above rights are continuing rights which can be urged by you in any stages of proceedings. You understand the rights I just read to you? Yes, sir. Okay. Let me get your full name. Excuse me. With Prado, Jesus había Prado, middle name, no. I have to spell A-V-I-E-L. A-V-I-E-L. So that's my phone. Okay, and where do you live in that region? 623. Can I call you Jesse? Yes, sir. Jesse, everyone calls me Jesse. Okay. My last name Prado. Okay, so you're.
Just gonna pause it for a second. We've heard the defendant refer to this individual as Detective Martinez. While he's interviewing the defendant, are you out doing investigative things?
Yes, ma'am. At this time, I was still at the scene when he's interviewing him.
Okay, so he's assisting you
He
essentially?
he was one of the detectives that assisted me. Yes, ma'am.
Is he still actively with SAPD?
No, ma'am. He retired.
You're not by Jesse? Yes, sir. Okay. Hey, Jesse, where do you live at right now? 6239 Lightfoot. Where's that? It's right beside the Fox Run Elementary School. What side of town? Wetmore. Oh, okay. That's a nice area. Yes, sir. What's your zip code? 78247. Work my ass off. You're well on that. Yes, sir. And what's a good phone number for you? 210-323-7325 and all that stuff like that right now. Okay. And your date of birth? 2/17/83. And how old are you? 40. 40. And do you know your driver's license number? 03003-113. Class A CDL. And social? 455-615236. Okay. And where do you work at? Middle East Global. Better known as Nabisco. Okay. And what do you do there? I'm a combo stock handler, class A driver. And what's the address there? 1001 Assembly Circle, Church, Texas. Not sure the zip code up there. Okay. Do you have an email address? Jesse Prado 2005 at yahoo.com. JESSE GRAGO 2005 at yahoo.com. Okay. And are you married? Legally married? Yes, legally still. And your wife's name? Monet. Oh, that's one. And nearest relative or somebody contact in case we. Man, I don't remember their numbers. But who is on my phone? Jamie Rodriguez. And who is Jamie to you? She's my sister. Okay. That's the one person I want to talk to right now. Okay. Sister, do you know where she lives at? At Dillion. All right, Jesse, hey, why don't you just tell me what's going on? Okay, tell me. preparing for my life. Right. Going through a divorce, man. Okay. Well, I got prepared. Okay. And she asked me for a divorce 10 months ago. Okay. Went to therapy. I'm doing good. She got the house. Fucking kids. And now she wants the fucking house. And she went to the house, we were arguing. Called the police. I was gonna go out there and talk to them. And they took tactical positions on me. And upset me. Went upstairs, grabbed my rifle. And shot the first officer to my left with a shotgun. Next officer ran from the second squad car to the first one, shot at him at the run. And then they started firing back at me. They started doing cover fire, retreating, and running back towards my neighbors. I didn't shoot at them because they had their backs to me. I honestly think my neighbor helped them. Costa is thinking, man, he's a good dude. They ran to Josh's house, my other neighbor. He helped them. Next two officers that showed up at the wrong house. They also had their backs to me, so I did not shoot them. Next four officers come, coming down the street. Could have shot them too, and that's when I had a shake the heart. You know, I didn't mean to do this. You know, the fight wasn't with him. And yeah, told my wife to come out, to myself, man. Walked out. Right. Hey, how long you been married? We've been together 21 years. Married a little over 10. Any children? Four. Boys or girls? Oh, one boy, disabled veteran. And 3 daughters. Yeah. The branch that serves you. So myself. I got a son named too. Well, when did y'all's trouble start? And did they just start recently or have they been going on? About a year ago. About a year ago? Went to therapy, I popped up. And when this happened a year ago, did y'all decide to try and make it work or how did she moved her mom since she didn't want to go. But you said you were going to therapy by yourself? Yeah, I was going to therapy. So she moved to her mom's? The kids too, or just the 2 younger ones, the one is daughter, and she's been with me. And that's what was it. My youngest one, I picked him up from school, and she picks him up after work. And my youngest daughter was saying she wanted to spend more time with me, and she was calling her off. So. Okay, so starting from the morning today, did you go to work? No. Okay, you were at home? Yes. By yourself or who's with you? Yeah, by myself. By yourself? I think I did. Okay. And what did you do in the morning? To my daughter's school. Okay, what's her name? Madison. Madison? Same Madison? Mm-hmm. And what's her date of birth? November 8th. I believe it's 2004. And where does she go to school? At Madison High School. Okay. That's you dropped her off about what time? 4:08. Okay. And then did you go back home or did you go run errands or what did you do? Yeah, I just ran some errands and got home. What time did you get home? Probably when the girls came out of school about 2:40. Okay. Took them to the movies, go watch the Barbie movie. Okay. And who showed up at your house? Madison and Books? What do you mean, sir? Because you said right before the kids got out. Was it Madison and somebody else or just that you took them, that went to your?
Oh, my two younger ones, I took them to the movies.
Okay, and who was it?
My two younger ones are 8 and 7. They're McKinley Sue, and then
McKinley Sue, do you know her date of birth?
McKinley is October 17th. Just their birthday. Should have one.
October 17th of what year?
And she just turned 9.
Okay. And how do you spell Malay?
MALY.
And seven, do you know her date of birth?
August.
That's okay, she said it. Okay, so they, correct me if I'm wrong, they show up about 2:30 after school, and then you take them.
About 3. So
Okay. Okay. And you take them to the movies for it.
we want to see the Barney movie, so it's already like going away from theaters. So
Mhm.
we went to the Animal Quarry to watch it.
Do you know what time the movie started?
It started at 3:50.
And what time did it finish?
About an hour and a half later,
Mhm.
about 5:30, so 5:45. We're back at Dallas by 6.
Okay, so when you got there back to the house, what did y'all do?
My wife was there waiting for us.
She was already there? Okay, and what kind of car did she drive?
She just got that deal on a 2020 Hyundai Santa Fe. She just wrecked her gas car and totaled it.
Okay, so she was there, was she parked in the driveway or was she parked in the? Okay. Okay, and what kind of car were you driving?
I drive my sister's car right now,
Okay.
because I've been selling all my belongings, but, with how I don't know.
Right.
I drive my sister's 2005 Chevy Blaze,
What color is it?
and it's maroon, and I got my motorcycle, one of those scooters on the show.
Okay. So when you got there, and do you park in the driveway or where do you park?
Part of the driveway.
Driveway, okay. When you get there, you park in the driveway, and does your wife come up to you, or do y'all go inside, or what happens there?
Well, she started around the kids, and
Okay.
I just stay out there, and, my little girl, this one's kicking and screaming, she called her off.
Do you want to stay with you?
Yeah, she's very good, whatever she wants to do with time.
Okay. And you stay outside the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you in the driveway, in the front yard, in front of the house? Okay. And she's just basically pulling the girls to the car, to her car.
Yeah, we started already outside.
Okay. And how did the argument go? The best you can remember.
No, I just kind of, I wanted her to come home and work it out, and just go and shut it.
And what did she say? No, yes.
Yeah, she said no.
And then what happened from there? Did she hit you or did you hit her? Did you act out?
Never touched it.
Okay. Did you act out in any way or did she?
Yeah, I have to.
What did you do?
I told her I want to bring the fucking house down.
Okay. Did you do anything?
Yeah, I was supposed to get us around, but
Did you have something to light it with?
yeah, I did, but I didn't.
What'd you have?
Probably
Okay. So did you go in the garage and get it or was it in the car already?
in the garage.
Okay, so you went in there and got it and then where'd you put the gas?
Just right there in the garage. Over the concrete.
Okay. And is that when she called the police or she called?
That's when she started calling.
Okay, and what did you hear her tell the dispatcher?
They started my house.
Okay. All right. And after she did that, did you stay there? Did you go inside the house or what happened?
I went inside the house.
Okay. And where did you go when you went inside the house?
I just stayed downstairs.
Living room, garage, kitchen, where?
Just just there in the room, just looking outside.
Okay. And what did you see?
Uh, I thought she had drove away,
Okay,
and then I think she put it into the neighbor's house.
so she got in the car with the kid and you saw the car drive off,
Yes.
okay?
And then, she pulled into the neighbor's house.
You know what name?
Yes, it was, Carol's house, which is 3 houses down.
You know where that's in?
No, I don't.
Okay,
And she pulled into hers. She pulled into her driveway, and that's whenever she like got off and I started walking towards the house. And then that's whenever I saw the cop car drive up.
okay, and you're still in the living room,
Yes.
you see the cop car drive up, where does the cop car go? Where does it stop?
Right there in front of the house.
Right in front of your house?
Yes.
Okay, then was your wife walking toward the police or could you see her?
Yeah, she was walking like towards them,
Okay.
and then they like met her, and then they like ushered her towards the car. And then that's whenever they came back to their car,
Okay.
and I thought they would come to my door and talk to me, but they got off with the shotgun.
And then what did you do then?
That's when I grabbed my rifle and I ran upstairs.
Where'd you get the rifle from?
I keep it downstairs.
What kind of?
It's the R-15. I was safe.
Is that the only one you grabbed?
Yes.
Okay, and you went upstairs to whose room?
My oldest daughter's room. She's got the big window.
And the big window faces the street?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do once you were up there?
Whenever I got up there, I just look out the window, and that's whenever that also the shotgun is and think about taking cover like that neighbor's car, pointing the gun towards the house.
Okay. Was the gun already loaded, yours? You keep it loaded in the house or
No, I
did you,
keep it loaded.
so you loaded it once you're in the room?
Mhm.
Okay, you racked around in there?
Yeah, I just dropped the board on.
Okay. And, so he's by his car,
By the neighbor's car.
by the neighbor's car, and he's got some type of rifle,
I believe it's so.
a shotgun, okay? And you say he's pointed towards the house, what did you do?
I took him down
Jake, okay.
and fired 2 shots at him.
Okay, did you open the window or you shot through the window?
Shot through the window.
Okay. And, did you hit him when you shot?
I'm not sure if I shot him. I'm not sure if I hit him.
Okay,
I heard him say, "Oh fuck,"
okay.
and I dropped 2 rounds on him, and that's when
Like dropped 2 rounds, you mean fired 2 rounds?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's whenever I
I'm gonna pause the video real quick at 1 hour, 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Detective, have you watched the surveillance video and Officer Bexar's body cam from this incident?
Yes.
The defendant here is saying that he fired twice at Officer Bexar. Is that true?
No, he fired more than that.
put my attention on the other officer.
Who was the other officer?
He was on the second squad car
Okay, and where was that?
behind the first.
Okay. And you shot at the guy, the first one that arrived twice, and then you turned your attention to this guy. Where was he?
He was in his squad car running towards the next one.
Okay. And did you shoot at him?
Just shot at him.
Okay, with the AR or with another rifle?
No, with the
Okay, is that the only one you
those
used?
rifle he used.
Okay, and you shot at him how many times?
I don't recall.
Once, twice,
About 3.
3 times?
Yes, sir.
Did you hit?
Is that true?
No, he fired more rounds than that.
I believe I did get him.
Okay. And then what happened?
That's whenever they started returning fire.
Okay.
And they got together and they're returning fire and retreating.
Okay, did you stay at the window or did you back up or? Okay. And when they were returning fire, did they hit close to you or?
Now there's coming through the window and hitting them.
Okay. And did you shoot any more after that?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I shot 2 more times on the wife's car.
Okay,
Towards the engine block,
okay.
and that was it was fired at it.
And more officers were showing up, but you didn't shoot at them.
And no, I did not shoot it. Okay. Like I said, the first officer showed up at the open house. Yeah, the back to me, and I didn't shoot at them. And then the next 4 officers came around from the hill and to the window, 7-story house. And I didn't shoot at him. That's when I had to change the heart.
Okay. And these officers that are showing up, because we have different units, these were like fully marked police cars?
I didn't see their vehicle. They were coming running from down the street.
Okay. But they're in police uniform?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you knew they were police officers?
Yes, I knew them.
And you intentionally shot?
The first 2 years.
Okay. Then you said you had to change your heart, what happened?
You stayed up, man. You just had a chance, wasn't fair. Wasn't fair.
So after you had to change your heart, did you walk back downstairs or did you stay upstairs?
I yelled at him too, because I was gonna come out.
Okay. Did you put down your rifle or did you take?
I left my rifle upstairs.
Okay.
And then I walked downstairs and I yelled out to the door that was facing me come out.
Okay. You came out through the front door?
Just came out for a fuck.
What happened after that?
Got me straight again. Yeah, but you said come out, hands up, and pick up my shirt, all his commands.
Okay. Did you walk all the way to the street?
Pretty much all the way to the curb.
Okay. And then you were in the street when they took you into custody?
My front yard.
In front yard? Okay. And then they placed you in a police car?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any other weapons on you at that
No,
time?
no, just my rifle. There is other guns in the house, but I just have my rifle.
Okay. When you and your wife argued, did it escalate to the point where she made any kind of threats or you made any kind of threats to
No,
her?
I didn't make no threats towards her. I just told her that.
Did she threaten you in any kind of way?
No, no, she.
Hey, let me go check on a few things and I'll be back. You need some water or something to drink?
I'll appreciate the water.
Yeah, let me get some water. Cold or warm?
Cool.
Okay, be right back.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pause the video at 1 hour, 13 minutes and 57 seconds. At this point, detective, what was the defendant's explanation for why he decided to shoot at those officers?
He said that they came at him wrong. Like in I guess the way they approached the house.
What was it about their approach that he didn't like?
That they approached tactically.
With
He
what?
didn't like that. They were armed. They had the rifles and they were approaching kind of tactically at his house.
And what was the word he used early as far as whether he felt? Did he ever say he felt threatened
No, I did not hear him say
up
that.
until this point?
Right.
Has he ever, up until this point in the video, has he said he felt scared?
No, ma'am. No.
What did he say? Do you recall the word that he used?
I think he said upset. I remember he upset him, I guess.
And up until this point, has he said at what point he decided that he needed to use his rifle on the officers?
It was when they were setting up around his house. is when
With
they-
their rifles,
With their
right?
rifles. Once he saw they had their rifles, they were approaching the house, that's when he decided to use force.
In your evaluation of the evidence, did you learn that he did or said anything that was inconsistent with the timing of his decision? That he,
No. They said anything,
no, what I'm getting at is he says to you guys in the interview,
right?
I was gonna come out and talk to them until they pulled out their rifles.
Yes, ma'am, he did, that was inconsistent, he did say that, yes.
What was inconsistent in the terms of like what you found in your investigation? What did he do or say that was inconsistent with him saying that?
There were a couple big things, one that he had actually got the magazines from his car, or one of the things, he got the magazines from his car after learning, that the officers were on the way and that his wife called the police. And also on the 911 call from Monet, you can hear him say, I'm gonna shoot it out with the police.
And at that time, the 911 call, and when he pulled the magazines out of the back of his car, the police hadn't even arrived yet, had they?
No, they hadn't arrived yet, no.
He hasn't seen anybody pull out any rifles yet, had he?
Correct, correct.
I'm gonna resume the video when the detective comes back in at 21 hours and 42 minutes and 10 seconds.
There, you may be problems with diagrams and get a better understanding. Like, you draw your house, like, then where the cars were, the officer window, first pull out. There's a color say. So what's this street right here? That's your street name? Well, or this is. This is a little cul de okay. I'm not sure the streets. Okay. Amistad and Puerto, I believe. Okay, where's your house? My house is right here. Okay. Just you put your name, no problem, okay. And my neighbor's house, Eddie. Just put it in, but he did like a stroke, he's in a wheelchair. Older dude? Oh, yeah. And then my brother, we go to church together here, the Browns. And then Carol's house. And then, I've been thinking about a motorcycle because he's getting motorcycle lessons. Anyways, that's what the officers ran. Okay. Yeah, too. Like, where was your, or where did the officers park at when he came to your house? That was right here. And, just right here. So. That's the front? Yeah. Okay. My two neighbors had a cars right here. Okay. And where did the second officer park? Park behind. Okay. And when he got out, right, or where did your wife meet him? Like, where? My wife was over there. Okay. I saw her pulled in. Okay. And then she pulled in. She started walking towards the house. Okay. And that's when I realized the officer was parked in front of my house. Okay. And they started walking towards her. And where did they meet her? Like in the cul-de-sac? More over here? Or pretty much in the middle. Okay. And did they stand there in the middle and talk? No, they like go straight back into the carol's room. Okay. And then about how long did they talk? 30 seconds. Okay. And then what did the officers do? They walked back to the car. Okay. Got off the shotgun. Okay. And this officer, he got a shotgun. Where was he standing with the shotgun? He got a shotgun and he started walking this way. Okay. Was he standing behind something or in the street? He started walking this way and that's when I ran upstairs. Okay. And when I got upstairs, looked out the window, he was in a tactical position right here behind the car. Okay. Aiming towards my house. Okay. And that's when you fired twice? Yes, fired at him. Okay. And did you hit him? Do you remember? I mean, I aimed towards his chest. Okay. Towards his chest. Okay. And you fired twice, and then he runs which way after you shoot? I didn't see where he went. Okay. Because this officer ran this way. Okay. And you said you focused on him? Yeah, so I turned around towards him and I shot him in the run. While he was running, you shot?
Yeah. He
And,
was running towards his car.
and with him, were you aiming for his chest also?
Just look for torso.
Torso? Okay,
Yeah, the trees right there too.
okay.
So
So you-
the tree.
You're aiming at his torso and you shot about 3 times. Okay, where, did you see where he ended up?
Behind his car,
Okay,
and then also started shooting.
okay. You know about how many times he shot?
Oh, that's not a lot.
He shot both of them, or just this guy?
I heard a shotgun and a pistol.
Okay. About how many times do you think they shot? Yeah.
Because they were shooting and moving from car to car back in the,
They backed up over here? Where did they back up?
all the way to James' car. James' house.
I'm gonna pause the video real quick. Detective, as part of your investigation in an incident like this, is it your responsibility to identify and verify which officers actually discharged their weapons?
Yes, ma'am.
And in this case, what was determined as far as whether Officer Swain ever discharged his weapon?
It was determined that Officer Swain did not fire his weapon.
So the only SAPD officer that fired a weapon in this incident was Officer Bexar.
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach the? Approaching the witness, right?
Yes.
Detective Soto, I'm gonna hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 115 for identification purposes. Is State's Exhibit 115 a fair and accurate copy of the diagram that the defendant is drawing in his interview right now?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll offer into evidence State's Exhibit 115, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
Right, State's Exhibit 115 is admitted without objection.
May I help?
Yes.
Now, I know you weren't the detective in the interview room with him, so I'm not gonna ask you to orient what the different things are on this diagram. I just wanted to give it to the jury since he's doing it on video in front of them in case they wanna see it.
Okay.
And I'll resume the video.
James?
I believe it's James.
Okay. Would you say more than 10 shots?
Oh, yeah.
More than 20?
I'll put it around there. 20.
About
A
20?
little bit of 20.
Okay. And you said when they went this way, they had the backs to you?
Yeah, every time I look out the window, they have big bags to me.
Okay. And the other officers, had they shown up already?
No.
Okay. So they had the backs to you and you didn't shoot any?
That's right.
And then how long did it take for the other officers to show up?
Minutes.
Minutes?
Yeah.
5, 10, 15?
I'll say 5.
5? And when they show up, about how many show up? Do you know?
2 officers with 1 car.
Okay. And where did they stop?
They stopped right here.
Okay.
And they took technical position behind these 2 cars, moving towards James' house.
Okay. Did you have a line of sight on them?
Correct. But they had the back towards me.
Okay. And that's why you didn't shoot?
Correct.
Let me ask you this, just if they would have been facing you, would you have shot?
At this point, no, I was already fucked up, and I shouldn't have done that.
Okay. When these guys, if they had backed up, was facing you, would you have shot them?
If they would be shooting at me. Yeah, I'll say I would.
Okay.
So it was a fight.
I'm gonna pause the video. He said if the officers at this point would have turned around and been shooting at him, he would have shot at them.
Correct.
Would they have been justified in shooting at him?
If he's fired, then yes, ma'am, they would be justified shooting back.
Okay.
Did you ever hear the officer say anything?
No,
Did you ever yell out anything to the officers while you were firing?
no. Whenever this also, when I shot him, he just said, I'm giving you a shit. I'm giving about him in the army. Did
Yes, I believe so.
I get him in the vest?
I think you got them in the leg.
Is he okay?
I think, I don't know for sure, but I think they're both gonna be okay.
In the leg?
I think so. I'd have to recheck on that, you know what I mean?
In the leg?
I'd have to recheck.
Okay.
It could be something different, right? I just got initial stuff and stuff changes, you know, and I haven't been able to talk to actually the officers or whatever, right? And I haven't talked to the detective that's on the scene, so, it could be somewhere else.
They were stopped.
Detective for that, or what do you think they did wrong?
First of all, they approached me wrong.
What do you mean by that?
They just took that to the position right away. I don't know what I told them what. And that's what upset me. Like I said, I was about to walk out the house and talk to them.
And again, detective, him saying I was about to walk out the house and talk to them, is that inconsistent with him grabbing the magazine and saying he's gonna be in a shootout?
Yes, ma'am. Consistent, yes, ma'am.
And him saying that they were sloppy and their tactics were horrible. Did he tell y'all that he has any relevant experience whatsoever to be able to hold an opinion on the tactical decision-making of San Antonio police officers?
No,
No military service.
no, I think he said he was in the military, I think. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so
I could be wrong,
We'll
yeah,
keep watching.
okay.
What do you imagine your wife said to him?
Sir,
What do you think your wife said to him?
he has guns in the house.
Have you ever like displayed them like in a bad way or shot in the yard or anything like that? You prior service or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Does he have any prior service experience?
No,
You're good with guns?
Yes, sir. I played rifles.
Oh, okay.
I played a lot of paintball.
Okay.
So his entire wealth of knowledge on the tactical decision-making of police officers is based in paintball?
yeah, balls and he builds guns. And I apologize, I think it was because I heard him talk about his son earlier as well.
No, that's
You
okay.
know,
We're used to it.
Okay. Let me check on a few more things and see if I can get an update on these officers and I'll come back, okay? You doing good? You go rush or anything?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right, detective, I'm pausing the video at 1:31:20. After this, is there any more conversation?
I think that's it with Detective Martinez.
So at the conclusion of his interview, again, does he ever say that he felt threatened by the officers?
No, ma'am,
Does he ever say he felt scared?
no, ma'am,
He says he was upset.
upset, yes.
And when he's reciting his version of what happened to Detective Martinez, does he ever make reference to the text messages that he exchanged with Monette that you collected from her cell phone?
I don't think he does, you know.
And so he doesn't let Detective Martinez know that he was telling Monette he wanted to burn the house down, or telling Monette about possibly holding a gun to his kid's head.
Correct, that doesn't come up in this interview, no.
So after reviewing, you also reviewed Monette's interview, correct?
Yes, I did,
So you're familiar with her version of what,
yes,
or her account of how this all started?
yes, ma'am.
After reviewing all of these things, the interviews, the surveillance video, the 911, the body cams, did you and the team that you referenced earlier when you talked about investigating OIS cases. Did you all determine that Officer Swain and Viscara used appropriate tactics in how they handled the situation?
Yes.
And outside of that investigation, because an officer discharged a weapon, is there an internal affairs of element to this as well?
Yes, internal affairs will get involved in any officer involved shooting.
And did internal affairs approve of all of their decision making as far as how they handled it until he started shooting at them?
Yes, they, as far as I know, they approved everything they did.
So being the lead investigator in this case, you're also charged with being aware and again, familiar with all of the physical evidence that was collected in this case.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you're familiar with the rifle that the defendant used?
Yes,
And do you have training with firearms, given your role here at SAPD?
yes, ma'am.
What kind of training do you have to go through to be, I guess, allowed to carry a firearm and use weapons like a rifle on the job?
For the regular proficiency training at the academy with our handguns. And then if you are allowed to carry, you put in the carry rifle and you carry it, you have to do like a yearly training to qualify with that rifle to use it.
Okay. And what is I guess, the number one rule that, whether you're a police officer or just a gun owner, that you are taught when it comes to pointing a loaded firearm at anything, let alone a human being?
The way we look at it at the academy, especially during training, is never point your weapon at anything you're not willing to destroy. It's kind of the term we use.
Okay. So pointing it and pulling the trigger, even, you
Correct.
have to be prepared.
People
For that type of-
But don't even point it, like, if you're not willing to destroy something, don't point your weapon like that, at anything you're not willing to destroy. It's a gun safety thing.
I want to ask you a question about State's Exhibit 76. Is there an item affixed to State's Exhibit 76?
Yes, ma'am, it looks like it's a scope.
And what does this scope do for an individual who's wielding this weapon?
It assists with accuracy of the weapon.
Now, we talked about that, how many times the defendant said he shot at these officers, which when you watch the video, what can you determine as far as how many shots he's fired?
He's fired more than I think he said he fired 7 total shots. He fired 2 at the car, so he fired more than that. Just from hearing this from the video and also from processing the scene.
Because of the speed of his firing, can you guesstimate how many times you hear his gun go off?
At least 16, 17 times. I'm thinking, but there's a lot of, is other guns being.
It's going fast, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. The shell casings that were recovered from inside of his home, inside of the room where he was shooting from, you recall how many you collected?
I believe it was 16, 17,
16 or 17.
17, yeah.
And have you seen the firearms report that came back from the Bexar County Crime Lab regarding those 17 shell casings?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
I guess I should back up. The shell casings and the firearm were sent to the Bexar County Crime Lab to be tested against each other. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's just to verify that those 17 shell casings came from that rifle.
Yes.
And did they?
Yes, they did.
Your Honor, we'll pass the witness.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Judge. All right, Detective, I have some questions for you.
Microphone, please.
Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about your job description because your job is more all-encompassing than just arresting people that, commit ag assaults or ag assaults on peace officers. Like you investigate police shootings in particular as one of your particular aspects that you have to do.
Yes, sir.
And so that involves like potentially deciding whether police can commit crimes on occasions, right? That's one of your responsibilities, right?
Yes, sir.
Certainly cases where people may fire on police officers, that's in your jurisdiction of duties, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you also have to deal with mental health cases when they escalate as well, right?
If they escalate into like a officer involved shooting or a homicide, yes, sir.
And so, I mean, you have training and you know that when somebody is not right in the head, whether it be mental illness, brain injury, depression, psychosis, things like that, it creates a dangerous dynamic, especially when guns are in the equation either way, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir, I do agree with that. It's very dangerous.
Because when, admittedly, like you and I today are very unlikely to do something, this egregious to anybody, right? Just normal people, normal days don't do this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, you would think no people that are in their right state of mind aren't gonna do something like this.
Now, like, to be fair, I mean, some basic things that you know about Mr. Prado is that at 40 years old, back 2 years ago, 0 criminal history, right? 0.
Yes, sir, yes.
And his first arrest was a really big one, right?
Yes, sir, it's like going from 0 to 100, yeah.
And now as a detective, you want to be fair to the prosecution, but you also want to be fair to a defendant and at least give him a fair shot of just honesty, investigation, considering all different possibilities. I mean, that as a detective, it's not just, hey, let's just bury this guy in the ground. You want to get as much information as you can to give a whole picture of somebody, right?
Yeah, I believe it's fair to get for the investigation, for the whole process to get as much information. I believe so, yes, sir.
Because, I mean, just from your duties as a police officer, when you've investigated mental health shootings, a lot of times you just don't know what's going on in somebody's head because you're not a medical professional, you're not a doctor, you don't know what's going on necessarily through your own experience as a detective. Would you agree with that?
Yes, these the mental health cases are very hard cases sometimes to deal with. I mean, it's hard to predict what someone's gonna do sometimes, especially depending on this family violence type situation or family situation, going through a divorce. Sometimes people just can't handle stuff like that.
Monette used the word snapped when she talked about this. Is that, I mean, do you remember that was at least an issue in a case like this, whether somebody has snapped?
I mean, I can't remember exactly if she did say that. She might have. But yeah, people just sometimes you just don't know what's gonna send them over the edge. It's hard to say. Some are different than others.
Okay. Now, all right, I guess if we're going to talk about the statement a little bit, would you agree with me that the way Jesse lays out the timing of everything, according to your investigation, I mean, everything he says is virtually factually true, except for a few little like numbers, mostly, I guess. As far as how the police drove up, where they were positioned in the drawing, Officer Viscara, talked to Monette. Then he went and he put on his military vest, his heavy vest, and he got his rifle. And then he was going to take a position where he was armed with a rifle, towards Jesse's house. I mean, that's how he described it pretty much exactly, right?
Yeah, looking at his interview, yes, a lot of the stuff he said, was consistent with what happened at the scene. He did, like I said, the numbers of the shooting, obviously was off on how many times he fired. But I think it was, it's important, like He did leave out the part about, grabbing the magazines.
Well, okay, let me stop you and ask you about that one, because that was the point that Melissa made. You don't know if those were the magazines that he used, because there were, I mean, there were several magazines for an AR-15 inside the house.
There was a lot of ammunition stuff in the house and a lot of magazines, yes, sir.
Right, so, I mean, are you telling this jury, that 2 clips he may have grabbed out of the Trailblazer are the ones he used in his rifle? Or could it have been the clip that was already in the rifle in his house?
So I can't say for sure that the clips he grabbed out of the Trailblazer were the ones that he brought upstairs. I can't tell you that for sure. I just know that just based on the totality of everything, making the statement that, when officers get there, he's gonna shoot.
Well, and that comment came from Monette specifically, because like another thing, again, like sometimes like you're a detective on a lot of cases, right?
Yes, sir.
And so detectives report in cases like this tend to be pretty voluminous, right?
Yes, sir, we have a lot of information.
Like if this was a DWI arrest, it'd probably be a 2-page report, and that's all you got to remember. But on a police shooting, I guess our binders are about this thick from all the paper in this case. Does that sound about right?
They're bigger than the average, yes, sir.
Okay. Because like you said in the 911 call, it is heard that Jesse says he's going to have a shootout with the police. If I tell you the 911 call does not say Jesse's going to have or Jesse saying I'm going to have a shootout with the police, that's not in there.
I might not have said it right verbatim, but if I recall correctly, at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into her phone call, you can hear him in the background state something to the effect of, it might not, if they come at me, I'm gonna shoot it out with them. Something to that effect. I'm pretty 100% confident that's in there.
Okay, well, all right. I mean, that's introduced into evidence, but like, just to clarify, like with Melissa, I wrote it down. You said in the 911 call, he says he's going to have a shootout with the police. It might not be like that in that 911 call.
Yes, sir, like, it might not be that verbatim, but he does state in there, I remember, like I said, about 2 minutes, 30 seconds in, he does say, you can hear it, I'm gonna shoot it out. If I can't tell if he says, if they come at me, I can't tell if I'm just gonna shoot it out, but you can hear it on there, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, again, the prosecutor in the case stopped the video when Jesse says that he thought he shot at Vizcarra 2 times. Certainly when you review the video, okay, you can hear that. All right, that's a weapon like this being fired at rapid pace, right?
Yes,
Now, these guns are designed to where they can be fired. A shot fires every time you pull the trigger. And like Vizcarra was telling us that he could tell the difference. And tell me if you agree with this. When a police officer shoots that weapon, he says he tries to be more deliberate, and it's pa, 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 where you're controlling the aim. That's a police training thing. And that's one of the things he can hear differently. Is that what you understand it to be?
so I can't testify to that with Officer Vizcarra. I never was trained, I never carried a rifle on duty, so that might be something that he might have learned, they might have taught him that in his class, maybe.
Okay. But as somebody who has dealt with many cases where shooting is involved,
Yes.
would you agree that witnesses, people that give statements, people that get shot, that they miss the number of times shots are fired, like many more times than they get it right? Would you agree? It's just the number is almost always inaccurate on some level?
Yes, I mean, it's because in that moment, there's like, there's a lot of, it's very stressful situations, and yes, it can, you can be off on the numbers, yes, sir.
Okay, and like for example, you had talked with Officer Deason, right?
Yes, sir.
Like in his statement in your prosecutor, I think he says he heard 4 shots when he was getting cover during the recovery efforts. But then when he saw his video, he corrected himself and said it was only 2. Like what he told you or the detectives was inaccurate. And again, he miscounted too, and he's a trained police officer, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, it happens during situations like that. Officers can be off, or you can, you just think you're hearing something. Some officers just, like auditory exclusion on certain things, and sometimes some officers will say they didn't hear anything.
Okay, and like I guess for example, so if I'm just saying, like if the suggestion is he was trying to suggest he shot fewer times than what he really did, you would think he would exaggerate how many times he was shot at by Officer Vizcarra, But in the video, he tells you he thinks Officer Viscara, when questioned about it, because he says, I don't really know. But when the detective's kind of like, well, give me a number, he gets to 20, like, yeah, that's about it, 20. But you know from your report, Officer Viscara shot over 60 times at the house,
Yeah, yes, sir, we did.
right? So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is when bullets are going off, nobody's counting, right? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just when bullets are flying, adrenaline gets pumped up. And I guess it seemed like the counting mechanism just kind of goes to the wayward.
Yeah, like I said, in a high stressful situation like that, yes, sir, that happened, it does happen.
Okay. Now, in regards to the statement, I'm going to use Jesse's language because several times during this interview, when it gets down to the point of like, what are you doing? He says several times, like, I fucked up. I mean, it's not the most eloquent apology or regret, but you can tell by his demeanor and everything else, he knows he messed up really bad and put himself in this horrible situation. Like you perceive that in that interview, right?
Yes, he understands, the situation he's in, it's pretty clear.
Okay, and then to be fair to Jesse, first of all, his surrender was as good as it could be from his part for like the circumstance he put himself in. He yelled out, I want to surrender. There were some commands, come to the front door. And they do the commands to where put your hands up, come out backwards, lift your shirt. They did all that stuff with him. He complied with all those commands and was arrested as peacefully as you could be for the situation he got himself in, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the video, one of his first questions to the arresting officers that had him in handcuffs was if their brothers were all right or did he hit them?
I knew a couple of times, I remember him saying like, are they okay, or yeah, did I hit him, but I'm pretty sure he was pretty confident in his abilities, I think he knew he hit him, for sure.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, yeah, I mean, with Swain in particular, I mean, Vizcarra got one in the arm and then dropped for cover. So I guess you could see how you might not know if you got him in that circumstance, right? Because
That instant, yes, he was for sure.
but from the videos that everybody's seen, when Officer Swain ran out into the open, I mean, when he got shot, he dropped there and had to go hide behind his police officer. But by the way he dropped, I guess it would have been obvious to anybody that was in the house. The way he dropped, he was almost assuredly shot, correct?
Yes, correct, I believe he was swinging for sure, I think he was even surprised about where he hit him, because I think when asked about it, I think, he was like, no, it couldn't have been in the leg, I think, he said, no way, had to be, because he was aiming in the center.
Right, and he talked about them wearing vests, but he said he was aiming for their torso where they wear their vest, right?
Yes.
He certainly never said he was taking like headshots. He always said he was aiming for their torso, which is where they have their vest, right?
Correct, he never said anything about any headshots.
Now, did you confirm what he said about how the initial responders would, I guess when there's an officer down call, that's the highest call y'all get. Everybody who's available and close rushes to that scene to protect the police force, correct?
Yes, so yeah, you hear something like that as an officer, I mean, you're going all out to try to get there as soon as you can to help out, any injured officers, if there are any injured officers there, yes, sir.
Okay, and so did you do any investigation to what he said as far as being accurate? Because when people drive up to the cul-de-sac, they don't have any information yet. I mean, they have what they've heard on the radio only, and you don't know where somebody is holed up. You don't know where all the danger is from. And so police officers can inadvertently go into complete exposure to somebody who's got bad intentions, right?
Yes, correct, those officers that, went there to assist, Swain and Vizcarra, to me, like, they're heroes, they didn't even like think about their well-being, they were going in to get their brothers out of harm's way.
Yes, and certainly, like, I guess you got a statement from, I forget the last names, right, but it's Stover is how he pronounces that, right? Detective?
Yeah, I think he's a sergeant now, but sergeant,
Well,
I think.
yeah, detective at the time, and he's been
Yes.
sergeant since then. I mean, he's the one who initially decided to set up two lower ranking officers to do the extraction, and they did both the extractions. And very well and very bravely, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. Percent.
Now, that's part of my questions because, like Officer Deason, kind of exposed himself when the sergeant kind of went fast. He was exposed in the street with no more cover because initially he had gotten cover behind the car, but when the sergeant sped up, he was left kind of in the open in the street. Right? Did you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I recall, I do remember that, watching the body cam, yeah, he was, yeah.
And so I guess my point is, like, when Jesse's given you his explanation of what was happening, you have to agree during your investigation that there were officers that completely exposed themselves to him. And if he had wanted to do more damage, he could have, right?
Yes, sir, he definitely could have, yes.
And so when you talk about his honesty in the interview, outside of him missing the numbers of the shots, I mean, everything that you can document, well, okay, was this true? Is this true? Is true? Virtually everything he says is true, like how it went down, the sequence, what Officer Descartes did first, what Jesse did, what Officer Swain did, what Jesse did, where they went, the extraction, who exposed who by these houses, their backs were turned. I didn't do it. I realized I fucked up. I realized my fight wasn't with them. And then he says, I made the choice to surrender. I mean, all of that was true as far as you could tell, right?
I guess, sir, I mean, he was very consistent on details, yes, he paid very close attention to what was going on, and, like I said, he's very, he had some skill with the rifle, because I guess he builds them and he practices with them, so he's pretty confident what he was doing, and was very articulate in how he described everything. Yes, sir.
And so, I mean, I guess the reason I went down that line of questioning is because if there's a suggestion that something in there is a lie, there's all the factual things that you can point to, like these things, was all very straightforward and confirmed by you, right? The story.
Yes, I mean, he was very straightforward with the detective, yes, I can agree with that.
And to be fair, to his detriment, in that, I mean, he did admit to committing 2 counts of aggravated assault on a peace officer, right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
he basically he confessed to 2 first-degree felonies without asking for a lawyer, without saying, hey, I don't want to answer that question. He answered every single question the detective asked of him, every single one of them, right?
Yes, sir, he did.
And as far as you can tell, accurately for everything that you could confirm.
Yes, sir.
Now the prosecution seemed to be upset that Jesse had an opinion on tactics. I mean, look, I've never been in the military, never been a police officer. I personally don't really like guns, but I mean, I have opinions on tactics. I mean, I can have opinions on tactics by just what I read or what I see or, whatever. Like, an opinion on tactic is not something that's necessarily offensive in and of itself, is it?
I mean, I think the point was that he just, it kind of felt, instead of being more remorseful, he was more like, almost like, I don't want to say, just confident the way he was, laying out everything. Yeah, he did ask if they were okay, but it just came off as a little arrogant about how good he was with the gun. Just, I don't want to say he's bragging, but just, it was just, he wanted the Detective Martinez to know, yeah, how, how good he was at the situation, to point out the mistakes that the officers made.
Okay, well, I can see that interpretation. Like, I guess that's kind of like a prosecution argument. But how about this interpretation too? With, like, is it possible? Like, I guess one of the questions we can never know for sure is, but he does say, if they had come and knocked on my door, I would have talked to him. Because again, it's somebody who's never been in trouble before. That may have happened. Like, if Monette had not come down the street, because the officers in the videos, like, they're going to handle it like a regular call, where you go to the door and knock, and you're cautioned, right? but you go and knock, hey, can you come out and talk to us, right? That's the way most of these calls will generally go, right?
In this case, I wouldn't have done that, just based on when they get there, they can smell the gasoline. They talk to Monet, she's very credible.
Hold on, I'm saying like without the Monette stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Because like it admittedly, when they get there, they're in the front yard and it looks like they're gonna go knock on the door like they would to like, and I think even the officer said, we separate the parties, find out who said what, and that's the way most of these calls go when they don't escalate like this, right?
well, yes, on like a standard call, family violence or whatever type disturbance call. Yes, you're gonna try to separate the parties, you wanna try to make contact, obviously, with the person that's in question. Yes, if we're just taking all the stuff Monet set out or any stuff from the key card that might have said he had weapons, stuff like that, yes, then that would be a way to handle it, yes, sir.
And again, I guess this just goes to the mental health side. I mean, a person could do it because they're evil, a person could do it because they snap, a person could do it because they have a brain injury. I mean, all of those things are possibilities, right?
Yeah, there's some, yes, it's hard to predict human behavior sometimes, especially in cases where there's, he's going through a divorce, he feels like he's gonna lose his family. I think in the interview, he talked about, now she wants my house. It's almost like that was the breaking point for him. But again, everybody's different, you just don't know.
Well, sure, and that's I guess that's the issue. I mean, everybody, comes to their to their end with a whole life of experiences, and like I said, your knowledge of him is based 99% on what happened during that 5 or 10 minutes, before the shooting happened, right?
Correct.
I asked this question of Officer Viscara because I don't know if you're this familiar with his body cam. I mean, I assume you are because it's probably the most watched body cam footage we have. But his body cam that he has on, when he, once he decides to put on his big vest and to get his rifle, he puts his AR-15 on the hood, and when he puts it on the hood, it is pointed at the house. I mean, do you agree with Officer Viscara that if a person is in a bad state of mind, they could see having a rifle on a hood pointed at the house as something very aggressive? They could perceive it as that.
On that part, for some reason, I just can't remember where his gun was pointed. I'm sorry, I just don't recall that. But you're asking if someone can interpret that as a threat?
Yes.
I mean, they're officers, they're in full uniform. I mean, he does say he's pro-police. I mean, I don't see why he would feel threatened by the officers.
Well, I guess okay, I thought you were going to agree with that, and I guess I thought so because you did say one of the cardinal rules about officers and their guns is don't point the gun at something you don't want to destroy. Before anything happens, Officer Viscara certainly didn't want to hurt Jesse or Jesse's house or anything like that.
Correct.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
but if his AR-15 on the hood was pointed at the house, I mean that would be in violation of what you told the jury a little while ago.
Well, I guess I don't remember that part. I don't remember his gun being pointed at the house. I'm sorry, I just don't recall that.
Those are all my questions for him right now, Judge. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, just
State.
I have a little bit of redirect. Detective, I'm gonna try to work backwards. From where you left off with defense counsel. Mr. Acevedo asked you if a person who maybe wasn't in their right state of mind could perceive a rifle pointed at their home as an act of aggression. Going back to his interview, did he ever say, I felt like they were threatening me?
No, he did not.
He said he was upset by the, I guess, displaying, pulling out of the
Their,
rifle.
like, to me, it was like their approach, them coming, armed, toward the house. And like, it upset him.
When we're talking about how he surrendered, he shot, and we can see this on Officer Vizcarra's body cam. He shot 17 times at least that we know of from the shell casing. And there is a difference, I think, in 2 or 3 and 17. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am, there is.
When he shoots, Officer Vizcarra begins returning fire relatively quickly after that second round of gunfire at Officer Swain. Is that correct?
Yes,
And Officer Vizcarra doesn't stop shooting until he's able to retreat, correct?
correct.
So when Officer Vizcarra is shooting at the defendant, I think it stands to reason that he has to hide so he doesn't get shot through the window, correct?
Correct, yes,
Which would then eliminate him from being able to continue shooting, correct?
correct, yes, ma'am.
And then, as we can see from the body cam and the Coban and the surveillance video, the cavalry arrives, correct?
Yes,
And it is only after that point that he chooses to come out and surrender.
yes, after he sees the other officers pulling up, that's when he decides this fight's not with him.
But even then, even after Officer Vizcarra has retreated, he still shoots 2 more times, doesn't he?
Yeah, he shoots at Monet's, I guess the engine.
Well, to be clear, that's what he says.
Right, yes,
Whether that was his intention or not, we don't know.
correct, because that's like the same direction that the car was going.
And sorry, I lost my train of thought. When he chose to fire those 2 more shots, there were more officers on the scene. I'm not saying he was necessarily shooting at them, but there were more officers on the scene, correct?
Yes, they were coming in there, going, trying to help Swain, Officer Swain.
As regarding the magazines that we were talking about. I guess I just want to clarify, the point of me asking about the magazines being pulled from his car is not to say that we know those were the magazines he used in shooting the officers. I'm not trying to imply that at all. The point is, in him grabbing those magazines before the officers even come in, or I'm sorry, arrive, in conjunction with him saying, "You call the cops on me, there's gonna be a shootout." What does that tell you about his intentions before he saw them deploy any rifles on him?
Right, yeah, like I was saying earlier, I mean, just the fact that he grabbed them, I mean, he might have had some other ones up there already. But he wanted extra, right, and he wanted to bring them up. And then again, saying what he said, that you can make out in the 911 call. It shows that he's already thinking about, what he's gonna do when the officers arrive.
And then at the beginning of his cross-examination, he said something about the defendant possibly not being right in the head. Throughout his entire time in custody, when he gets put in the back of the car, which I know you've seen those videos as well, when he does this interview, and subsequent to this, does he ever appear to you to not be in his right state of mind?
I don't know, man, he seems like a pretty articulate guy, seems like a pretty smart guy. I never got the opinion that he was, messed up in the head or had any mental illness, nothing like that.
In fact, Mr. Acevedo asked you if it seemed like he understood the consequences of what he had done, if he understood the nature of the circumstances that he has found himself in. Did he seem like that?
And understood, he said it several times that he was in a lot of trouble, but he did understand.
And would him understanding be inconsistent with him not being right in the head?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And with regard to him not being right in the head, Mr. Acevedo said, somebody who's not right in the head may do things that are not normal, that maybe you or I or a normal person would do. You remember that?
I do remember.
Is going through a divorce normal?
It happens to a lot of people. I think it's like a 50% rate in the country, like a lot of
Is
people get
losing a
divorced.
loved one normal?
Yes, it happens a lot.
Going through a hard time financially, is that normal?
Yes,
All of these are normal things that everybody experiences in their life, correct?
correct, yes, ma'am.
Nothing further.
Defense.
Few clarifying points, officer. Okay, we went back to the numbers, but I just don't want to leave a false impression on the jury. Saying 2, 3 is different than 17. Okay, just so we can make sure we're really good on the numbers. Okay, he said about he thinks he shot Edward's car 2 times. We know it was a few more than that by the sound on the video. That's established. He says he didn't know how many times he shot at Swain. The officer presses him, so he says the number 3. Then he says, okay, after every, I just want to make sure we're not leaving a false impression, because you probably don't know the timing that we've talked about. But Officer Vizcarra was in the house and Officer Swain was at the EMS vehicle already when Deason hears those 2 shots that Jesse's talking about, that it was aimed at Monette's car. So Monette's car was shot and it was down the street at a house like 4 houses down. Is it very consistent that if he was aiming from his house in that window at Monette's car, he could hit it at least 1 time with 2 shots? Because there has been testimony her car had a bullet hole in it that they discovered. And
There was I'm sorry, my mind's blank on that. I just remember, I know he shot toward, he admitted shooting toward the car. But I know we did find that round in the other, and one of the neighbors found like a projectile, I guess.
yeah, well, I mean, there were a couple of cars that had some holes in them, but Monette's car took a bullet. I mean, is it consistent with his statement to the detective that, yeah, the 2 shots, he says, I took 2 shots at Monette's car.
Yeah, yes, it is.
All right, so, but that, I guess the other fact is that, okay, when pressed, when he's saying, I don't know exactly how many times, but he gets 2, 3, and 2. So we're at 7. I mean, 7 and 17 is a much bigger difference than estimating 20 from Vizcarra when it's actually 62, right? That one was 42 off. That wasn't what.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna object. Officer Vizcarra estimated in the 40s. He didn't, misstatement of the testimony.
All right, you can answer the question. And if the question is incorrect in your eyesight, you may respond.
Okay, well, let me rephrase it so we can be real clear on this. Your prosecution guide will have the information of how many bullets Vizcarra shot, and that number is 62, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so Jesse is estimating Vizcarra shot 20 times. Your documentation of the bullet count, CSI, and all that stuff indicates Vizcarra shot 62 times. He was off by 42 with Vizcarra, right?
Correct, yes.
Not because he's lying, just because, again, counting bullets in this situation is just not what people do. They don't count bullets that they hear, right?
It's tough sometimes, yes, sir.
Okay, and the right in the head part, I want to make sure, like, we have not pled like not guilty by reason of insanity, right? Like that's a whole different thing, right? Like, he's pled guilty to the offense. He's not saying he was insane. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, just for clarification purposes, because I think this is pretty important. Certainly Jesse is at least rational in this video, right? I mean, he's answering the questions logically. He's not saying, you know, demons are over here, and, you know, he's not, that's not what we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir, like I said earlier, he's very articulate. Seems like he has a lot of knowledge, especially about, you know, situation and guns, and yes, he's straightforward about what he did. Yes, sir.
All right, what I guess just to clarify, when we talk about mental health, a lot of mental health issues are a little more subtle than like the person you see on the street talking to themselves, talking to people that aren't there. Mental health can be much more subtle than that. Would you agree with
I
that?
mean, yes, there's I'm not, we get trained in that. I'm not We have a specialized unit that actually handles that mental health unit. They're way more, they get way more training than I have right now on that, but there's a big difference, there's probably a big degree of, things to look at in the in as far as mental illness goes.
If a person hypothetically is experiencing what could be clinical depression, that can affect behavior, but it's not.
Object to speculations, witness isn't qualified to give an opinion on clinical depression.
So, Judge, she's crossed on the issue of being right in the head, trying to imply that this video shows that.
Could I have parties approach?
Detective, let me rephrase my question. The prosecution asked you, does he appear right in the head generally? Something to that effect on redirect. I guess my question to you is that, are there more subtle mental illness issues that you're aware of and you've been trained about that are not so obvious?
Yes,
Have you had basic training and things on like what a depressed suspect might be like or look like, or what you have to be careful about, stuff like that?
We've had basic training on stuff like that, yes.
Would you agree that if somebody's clinically depressed, that's not necessarily something you can see from a short interview?
Correct, sometimes it's hard to assess stuff like that.
A person could have some injuries to their head that could cause brain issues, that would be more appropriate for medical personnel, because some things like that you can't see as a police officer. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yes.
All right, and so just to kind of make clear, while you're a detective and you put together the evidence of the case and you give the prosecution a prosecution guide, and you basically put all this evidence together for the criminal case. That's your job, right?
Correct.
But again, if you're going to be fair to Mr. Prado, you cannot say what's in his mind. You just don't have the ability to say that. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, yes, sir.
All right, I'll pass the witness.
State.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge, he's excused.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with any one of you, anything about this trial until the conclusion. All right, you may step down if you'll leave your square mic behind. We'll have parties approach. Hello. Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, just, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so everyone can hear. And if you could state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
My name is Nicholas Antoine Augery. At the time of the shooting, my name is Nicholas Antoine Swain. My last name is Swain.
All
And
right.
yeah, I guess go ahead and spell your new last name for us as well.
Augery.
All right, you may proceed.
Yeah. Officer Flynn, sorry, I know that you've changed your name, and I want to be respectful of that, but since this whole trial, we've been referring to as Officer Swain, are you okay with us continuing to do so?
Absolutely.
Would you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hello, my name is Officer Swain. At the time of the shooting, I was about a year and a half on the police force. Before that, I was spending 5 years in the Marine Corps as a linguist. I worked in Intel. After that, I decided to stay here in San Antonio. This is where I was stationed. I have a wife. Now I have a 5-year-old boy, and I'm a police officer here.
Tell us a little bit about your background as far as why you joined the military, why you joined the police department.
Well, when I was 8 years old, first thing I really wanted to be was a fireman. But someone I spoke to originally told me that I had a better chance of running into a burning building as a police officer. So I thought, great, I get to go and fight fires and, you know, catch bad guys and all that other stuff. Then after that, when 9/11 happened, that really affected how I saw America and my responsibility to it. So I had to wait until I was 21 anyway before I could be a police officer. So I enlisted in the Marine Corps.
And how long were you in the Marines?
5 years.
And did your time in the Marines and SAPD overlap at all? Or did you get out of the Marines and then join SAPD?
I was on terminal leave for about 2 months, and I went through the police academy in the class of 2019 Bravo the first time while I was on terminal leave. I suffered an injury, a spiral fracture in my ring finger during training. So I had to quit, and then I reapplied for the year 2021 child.
Okay. And you said that you're married. What's your wife's name?
Tiggy.
And what's your son's name? In 2023, how old was Tristan?
He was 3 years old.
And in 2023, how long had you been married to Tiggy?
We got married in 2019.
So was she with you when we were in the Marine?
We worked together. That's how we met. She was also a linguist. We met during training.
So as far as joining SAPD, you are a certified peace officer?
Yes. State of Texas.
And you went through the same training and experience that all police officers go through?
Yes, it evolves over time.
Okay. Will you stipulate to his training and experience?
Yes.
Okay. With the stipulation of the parties, Your Honor, I'm going to skip past his training and experience. I want to talk to you about your role on October 19th, 2023 with SAPD. What was your job title at that time?
Patrolman, patrol officer.
And what are the duties of patrol officer?
At the time, my job was to respond to emergency calls for service, 911 calls.
And on that day, were you on?
Yes, I was.
And did you respond to a call for assistance at the intersection of Amistad Pass and Alta Puerta?
Yes, I did.
And did you respond to that disturbance alone?
No, I was covered for Officer Bexar.
Okay. And at the time that you were all dispatched to that location, what was the nature of the call as best as you knew from dispatch?
It was a family violence, family disturbance call.
Did you know any of the details of the incident?
Yes, apparently there was gasoline that was being used around the house, and the wife was the caller. From what I remember, said that the husband was angry that she was leaving.
Okay. And do you recall if dispatch let y'all know that he either had a mechanism to light the gasoline or he was trying to light the gasoline? When you got to the call, what did you and Officer Vizcarra do?
When we stepped out of our vehicles, we immediately smelled gasoline. So we looked at each other. I think he said something to the effect of, "Do you smell that?" And I was like, "Yes." And we took a few steps towards the house. But then after that, the wife called our attention. And so we turned to her, and then we spoke to her, got some information from her about Mr. Prado being in the house. He was alone. He had firearms, and she had her children with her outside the house.
When you learned that he had access to firearms and was potentially armed with a rifle, how did that change your tactical decisions as far as whether you approach the house, whether you try to engage with the suspect or not?
Well, at that time, we had the odor of gasoline that we smelled from the outside of the house. We had attempted arson, them pouring gasoline or him pouring gasoline all over his, my mind, and act that's amounting more than just mere preparation. So it's attempted arson. At that point, that would make it a criminally barricaded subject if he's alone in the house with a weapon. Our priority at that time was getting the street cleared. So Officer Vizcarra started yelling to everyone who was on the street because it was crowded. There were children on the street, there were adults. It was in the afternoon. Then I took his wife, trying to get her back to her car. get some more information, and then tell her ultimately that you need to leave. Whether you're going to the car and preferably drive away, or you go into a house, but you just need to get out of here. So that was the first priority, getting everyone off the street.
When you learn that the subject is armed, are you going to continue to try to engage with him at this point?
At this point, we
Like, go to the house and try to talk to him if you know he's got this rifle?
no, at this point, we need containment on the house.
And was that what you and Officer Viscara were attempting to do after you got Monette and the kids away?
Yes,
And was your vehicle equipped with a camera system when you responded to the scene?
yes.
Stipulate to it.
I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 115 for identification purposes and ask if you recognize that.
I do.
Okay, it's State's Exhibit 115, a fair and accurate copy of your, we call it Coban, your in-car video
It is.
from that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we'd like to offer State's 115.
It's stipulated, Judge. We have no objection.
And are you saying 150?
I'm sorry, 115, 115.
Could y'all approach?
Oh, you know what?
We did.
We did the map, or I'm sorry, the diagram is 115. So
Yes.
this is gonna be,
That's what I was asking y'all to approach about.
I saw it as soon as you said that. Okay, so this is gonna be State's Exhibit 120. So we'll offer State's Exhibit 120. We have some photographs that are in the middle, so.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit 120 is admitted without objection.
May I publish that?
Yes.
I'm gonna play your backseat video first. Playing it at 8 minutes and 8 seconds for the rest. Officer Swain, what are we seeing you do here in this back view of your vehicle?
I'm trying to put on my rifle rated vest.
And you just dropped down, what's happening now?
While I was there, I don't remember hearing gunshots. However, I do remember hearing clearly on the radio my partners that I'm hit.
Okay,
So he was hit. And I was taking out my body cam, about to put on my rifle rated vest. Then after that, I heard my partner say I'm hit. You know, at that time, I'm
sorry.
assuming the worst, that he was actively being killed, being shot at, and in that moment, I made the decision that the vest wasn't worth the extra time. A life and death situation like this, hesitation kills. So I made the choice to go out and try to find him as soon as possible, because those seconds matter.
and when you first, we see you kind of bolt around the side of your car. When you first did that, could you see where Officer Viscara was?
No, that was the last place I saw him. He was putting on his rifle plates and getting his rifle out.
So that was the last place you saw him, but when you came around the side of your car, he wasn't there anymore?
Okay.
Okay, and you didn't know where he was?
Not at that time.
Okay, Did you know exactly where the gunfire was coming from at that time?
I assumed it was coming from the direction of the house. However, between our two patrol cars, there was a large tree that was blocking a good portion of the house. So I could not.
And I'm gonna play your front view. What just happened in the video right here at 8 minutes and 40 seconds?
I was just shot by Mr. Prado in the right wrist, the right thigh, and a third bullet took the body cam off my vest. I fell to the ground, picked up my gun, and I tried to crawl to the back of the patrol car behind hard cover.
And you said you crawled. Why did you have to crawl?
Because when I was shot in the leg and also the right hand, I wasn't able to stand up and run anymore. If I could, I would have.
And have you watched this video with it slowed down?
Once.
Can you see your body cam explode from your chest?
Right now, there's glare on the screen, but before I did, yes.
See the pieces of your body cam go flying?
Yes, ma'am.
after you crawl around the side of Officer Viscara's patrol vehicle, does this camera angle pick up any more of what happened with you?
No.
Officer Viscara, I'm showing you what's been marked as state's exhibits 116 through 119. Could you take a look at those, please, and see if you recognize them?
I do.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of your vest and your body cam back when this happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we'd offer into evidence state's exhibits 116 through 119.
No objections.
All right, State's Exhibit, I'm sorry, 113,
116 through 119.
116 through 119 is admitted without objection.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
And Officer Swain, we've heard a little testimony about a thing called staff numbers. What is your staff number?
145470.
First, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 116. Is this the vest that you were wearing that day?
Yes.
And are there any defects on it that reflect where you were shot by Jesse Prado?
Yes, on that body cam label.
Right here?
Yes, ma'am.
And how about right here?
Yes, ma'am. That's where it was. Originally, it was a pocket.
Right, so I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 117. And is that in the pocket?
Yes.
So this is how it would actually be sitting when you were shot.
Yes, as well as the body cam being on top of it.
Right. And that's gonna be State's Exhibits 118. And 119. Actually. Great. Officer Swain. I'm gonna show you what we're going to mark as State's Exhibits 120 and, or I'm sorry, 121 and 121A. What is State's Exhibits 121 and 121A?
Vest, the body cam holder.
Can you speak up a little bit more? Sorry.
The vest and the body cam holder.
Thank you. Are these those things?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll offer in evidence State's Exhibits 121 and 121A.
We have no objection.
State's Exhibit 121 and 121A is admitted without objection.
Would you please hold this up against your body so the jury can see how, I mean, you're wearing one now, I think, but how it would have been situated on that day?
Felt like that.
And I'm gonna remove 121A from 121. You can put that. What is this? Well, one, what is this item?
That's a body cam holder.
And you're wearing one right now, correct?
Yes, I am.
Can you demonstrate for the jury how this would work?
Essentially, turns in, clicks in like that. That way it's held. This goes into the pocket. It's like so.
And the one you're wearing now for your current body cam is the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. And the part on 121A that has the obvious defect, what is that made out of?
Some kind of metal.
And the rest of the plate or the holder, what is this made out of?
Plastic.
So this part, the part that the bullet just happened to land on, is the only metal part of this plate.
Yes, ma'am.
Take that back. Your Honor, may I publish just 121A to the jury?
Yes.
So given the condition of your actual body cam that day, were we able to recover any of your body cam footage from this incident?
No.
So you told us that you were crawling around the back of Officer Bexar's car. And what did you do when you got on the other side of the car?
I realized that I was shot in 2 places, and I was rapidly losing blood from my leg. My right hand was incapacitated. It was flopping around. Absolutely no use of it at all. So I reached into my left cargo pocket, pulled out a tourniquet, and with my left hand, I tried to put it over my foot, put it up as high as I possibly could, and tighten down the tourniquet to stop the flow of blood. However, even though it'd only been at most 30 seconds to a minute, I had already lost a lot of blood. And even though during training, they teach you how to apply a tourniquet with one hand in the academy, I was not anticipating how weak I would be due to that blood loss. I heard after the fact they put about 6 units of blood back into me, so that was about 3 liters. Once I realized that I couldn't properly secure that tourniquet around my leg, I just cinched it down as hard as I could. And then I turned over onto my right side, which was my injured leg. Tried to squeeze my top leg on top of it as hard as I could. And my goal at that point was just to control my breathing and not pass out from blood loss. So I picked up my pistol with my left hand, and underneath the patrol car from the undercarriage to the curb, there was a gap where you could see the front door of that residence that we responded to. So I tried to hold security in that one.
So even in the condition that you were in, you still attempted to provide cover and safety for anybody that the defendant might be a threat to.
Yes, if you came out the front door.
And so while you were laying there bleeding, apart from trying to prevent any further threat, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that I needed to get on the radio and update dispatch with my condition and my location. I was also trying to look for Officer Bexar, since at that point, I still didn't know where he was. Eventually, I was able to locate him. He was just, I believe it was north of that patrol car in the grass. He was prone out with his rifle.
Do you remember how long it was before anybody was able to get to you to get you to safety?
I lost sense of time.
Do you remember getting to an ambulance for treatment?
I do. I stayed conscious.
You were conscious the whole time.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it painful?
I was in shock. At that point, I think there was so much adrenaline that was going through me, as well as blood loss that was coming out of me, that it was very painful, but I was able to stay in control enough of that. And I've been pretty seriously injured before as well. I broke a neck in a motorcycle accident. I've broken all kinds of bones before, and most of the time your pain tolerance just keeps going up. So at that time, training just kicked in. You know, you repeat these elements of your training again and again until it's muscle memory. So that when a level of stress comes very high, or a situation is so extreme that occurs, a lot of times you just do it unconscious.
So tell the jury about what happened when you got to the ambulance.
I got to the ambulance. They tightened the tourniquet on my leg, and they started working on my wrist. They started putting needles in me to give me fluids, as well as, from what I remember, there was a stopping point on the way to the hospital where they did a blood transfusion. After that, we kept driving to BAMC. And once I went into the hospital, again, I stayed conscious and I was able to speak to the operating surgeon. And I remember telling him if he could try to save my trigger finger, he said he would try.
Tell the jury about your injuries. Just in general.
So the physical injuries at the time, I was in the hospital for, I believe, around 7 days. Most of it I was just unconscious. There were multiple surgeries done on my leg. The doctors had to cut all the way up into my hip, so from mid thigh all the way up into my pelvis.
Your Honor, may the witness stand up to demonstrate?
Yes.
So I was shot here, and they cut all the way up to here in order to search for any arteries that were bleeding out so that they could close them up. Additionally, there were fragments in my leg that they left in because they would have done more harm to me for them to actually try to take it out rather than just leave it inside. There were multiple surgeries for the leg, and I don't know how many surgeries for the wrist. The fragment in my wrist, they took out a majority of those bullet fragments simply because it got in the way of the natural movement of the wrist. There was serious damage to the extenders of my hand, tendons in the back of my hand. The doctor took spare tendons from my pinky and tried to reconstruct the extender for my index finger. BAMC is an excellent hospital. It's a trauma hospital. The only other place besides Germany, so BAMC here, where they do that level of care from what I understand. And they did an excellent job. I was also part of the Center for the Intrepid, which is a physical therapy group there at BAMC. I was approved for a 6-month stay where they had amazing staff, amazing facilities. I did occupational therapy, which is everything above the waist, and then physical therapy, everything below the waist, multiple times a week. They also had a firearm simulator training out there where I was able to have real rifles, real pistols, where they were able to regulate the recoil and the sound in order to get me back up, acclimated to those noises and those firearm handling skills again.
Could you, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
I want the jury to be able to see the injury on your hand. The scar. If you want to come down just so we can get everybody can get a better look at it.
So the bullet went in around here in the front. The rest, from what I understand, are surgical scars. The reason why this part is so ugly is because I had an adverse reaction to steri strips. They didn't use traditional stitches. And then when they finally come off, a week or two after the operation, there was rotting flesh. It was gray, stank. They had to deep dry, cut off all that flesh for physical therapy. There was also an operation several months after where they removed all the hardware from my wrist. Some of the screws were too long and it was grinding up against the cartilage whenever I would turn the wrist. But in the beginning, I had to relearn how to use my hand. That surgeon who originally did the operation, that was one of his last, if not the last operation that he ever did. So I'm grateful for all those years of experience. However, the following doctor who looked at me, when he saw 3 months later that my index finger could not move past that, could not extend further than that, he told me that that tendon was dead, it was toast. And there was a plan to continue that operation, have another surgery where he would tie all the tendons in my hand together. Basically turn my hand into an oven where I can open and close all my fingers at the same time. But I would lose independent function of my pinky and index finger, which if you want to shoot a gun, you can't do. You have independent motion that Next.
You can take this one.
So you were in the hospital, you said, for 7 days. Do you remember seeing your wife for the first time?
Yes,
How was that?
there was a lot of relief. I remember the first thing I told her was that it was worth it. We train to be in the right place at the right time so that we get shot at, not innocent people get shot at. We have the training, we have the ballistic vests, we have the firearms. And in a situation where we get shot and not innocent people, it's a win. I'd spent most of my childhood and most of my adult life training for critical situation like this. And when I saw her, I told her that it was worth it. I didn't have any regrets.
Did she?
Absolutely.
What about your son? Remember seeing your son for the first time?
He was 3 years old at the time. My wife told me that they came to the house and we just had to scoop him up, get into the patrol car, drive over to the hospital. And he saw me all hooked up, wires coming out of me. Didn't really understand what was going on, but he was scared. And he was 3 years old at the time, wasn't able to speak very well. But when he turned 4 and he had better command of the language, all sorts of things came out. So, for example, we put him in a school, and he'd wake up and go to soccer in the morning, and he would talk to his coach who he was close to. And he would say, "Yeah, I wake up every morning and I need to check on my papa, make sure he's still alive because he's got a dangerous job." They asked him, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he said, I want to kill bad guys. I think that would be a good thing to do. He had night terrors where he would wake up screaming and crying and had no words to explain it. But one time I do remember that when he woke up, he told me that he remembered that he also got shot too. He was shot in the back. He was fighting a bad guy with a sword, but it was a toy sword, so he couldn't kill the bad guy. So he wasn't brave and he ran away and he was shot in the back. But don't worry, Papa, it's all healed up now. It's just a scar. And I asked him, well, don't you think this is just a dream? It's okay, you're okay. It's like, no, Papa, I remember. I remember. And at that age, there's no difference between this dreamlike fantasy and reality. It's all the same for him. He was seriously affected, fundamentally changed. He had all sorts of behavioral problems at school in the beginning. We tried to put him in therapy, and there was emotional outbursts every single time. Staff wasn't exactly supportive. They just wanted to put him on pills and medicate him and dope him out, just to make him listen to what they were telling him. So he actually ended up getting kicked out of that school. I mean, we pulled him out. There was like a 3 strikes rule. He had already gotten to 2, and we didn't want an expulsion on his record. So we pulled him out, we took him home, and tried to just keep him home for the rest of the time. He was processing it in his own way. Every now and then he would take part in play that would expose certain topics. So for example, if there was like a toy gun or something, he would say, "Hey, Pop, I want to train with you. Can you teach me how to shoot?" And then that led to conversations about firearms and how I was shot and the extent of my injuries. He approached it in his own way, tried to process it in his own way. But he has this fear inside him, and this awareness of death that a child of his age should not have.
And I want to go back for just a minute to your physical recovery, because I think I kind of interrupted you when you were talking about your physical therapy and all of that. How long were you going through all of that and not able to be an active police officer?
I was at home and dealing with doctor's appointments and physical therapy until August of 2024.
Okay, this happened in October of 2023, so August of 2024, you weren't even on light duty, you were just on leave.
Correct. That was a convalescent leave. That's August. That's when I got approved for light duty. Basically, I could go back, do some sort of gainful employment for the city.
And during that time that you were home, who was your primary caretaker?
My wife.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say she was part of. She was going to college and she dropped out to be my caretaker, basically.
And that was because you were so seriously injured, you needed a caretaker.
Yes, I was hobbling around with, a cane. My other arm was in the sling. Couldn't cook, could barely walk. I spent most of the time on my back.
Couldn't hold your son,
No,
couldn't bathe.
no, I couldn't bathe. There were spots on my back I couldn't reach. I couldn't, like I had to be fed and clothed. There are things where I had to learn new ways of getting around, new ways of clothing myself. But in the beginning, my wife did all of that.
Did you have to learn how to do things with your left hand?
Yes. In fact, when the doctor told me that I was going to be a lefty, that's when I started doing everything with my left hand. But
Sorry, I was just gonna say, were they concerned at first about the potential of you losing your hand or not being able to use it?
again, it wouldn't be used in the same way. They were trying to keep as much utility as possible. Like, for example, they were considering that surgery where they would tile tendons together so I could open and close it. Because at that point, I couldn't even put my hand in my pocket. Whenever I was trying to shake hands with somebody, I had to reach forward and then pull the finger back. That way I could actually hold them. Otherwise, it just got in the way. It's getting caught on all sorts of things.
How did your relationship with your wife, or how was it affected with her having to stay home and take care of you and all of the things that came along with it?
Rapidly deteriorated. Even though she took responsibility for what happened, and took care of me extremely well. She suffered greatly for doing that. She's a nervous wreck, even to this day. She's completely traumatized. She doesn't sleep. She wakes up multiple times during the night, even during daytime hours. Whenever I've just recently returned to duty, she has these intrusive thoughts of my death every single day. Whenever we're having a good moment, she thinks to herself, I should remember this for when he dies. Whenever we listen to a song or something and I express that I like it or whatever, she's like, man, I should write this down just in case, I need it for like his eulogy or something like that. She's told me that even though nothing could happen for the rest of my career, she's always waiting for that call. She's always waiting for the time when some other officer comes to our door and says, I'm sorry, your husband's dead.
You changed your name.
I did.
Why did you change your name from Swain to Ojri?
After I got shot, I realized what name I wanted on my tombstone. Ojri is my grandfather's name, and when I die, I want to give him respect in that way. It's also a name I want to pass on to my child.
So your wife and your son's names have changed as well?
Yes.
Or left. When did you go back to full duty, if at all?
Only in the past few weeks, the 10th of November.
So over 2 years from this incident before you were cleared to be back on full duty.
Yes.
What are your physical, I don't know if limitations is the right word, but physically now, are you still dealing with anything that remains from this incident?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell the jury about that.
So as far as my wrist is concerned, I have limited range of motion. That's as far as it goes that way, as far as it goes that way. Laterally, doesn't go very far. So the range of motion is limited. Also, I can't fully extend my fingers on my right hand. I don't know if you can see that. I can't make a closed fist all the way. My fingers jut out. I also have post-traumatic arthritis in my joints. I don't know if you can tell from this distance, but there's certain joints that are swollen. And that's only going to get worse with age. Additionally, there's numbness. There was some sort of damage to the ulnar nerve. I don't know if it was compression or scar tissue, but I have a lack of feeling along the edge of my hand and my pinky, and it gets a little bit less as you go towards the thumb. Additionally, grip strength is a lot worse than what it was. Right now, I can have maybe 50 pounds of pressure in my right hand, which is my dominant hand. My left hand, even though I have broken thumb, broken wrist, spiral fracture in my ring finger from all previous injuries, I can still get over 100 pounds very easily. So about half of what my non-dominant hand is now.
What about in your leg?
In my leg, even though I can physically do all of the things that I need to do, there's this thing called CRPS. It's complex regional pain syndrome. They've known about it since the Civil War. Basically, you would have soldiers who get hit with a high velocity bullet, creates this vacuum inside the limb that is created and rapidly closes and wreaks all kinds of damage on the nerves. This illness, injury, whatever turns into it, it's progressive and it comes in stages. The first stage is just pain that prevents movement of the limb. The second stage is atrophy of the muscles in the limb, locking it up. And the third stage is that it travels into different parts of your body. I was put on methadone for the first year of my convalescence because I needed to do as much physical therapy as I possibly could in order to keep the muscle from atrophying, getting the limb locked up. However, the pain was intense that first month. Even just bed sheets going across the top of the leg felt like a fire, felt like a flamethrower. And even now I'm off the medication, it still took months, years of desensitization to even just put my knee on the ground again. Even now, I'm completely off the drugs. If I take a hot shower and there's hot water, I still feel burning below the knee and on that upper part of the shin. It doesn't go all the way around the leg, but from below the knee to the top of the ankle on the shin. Same thing with hot weather. In San Antonio, you know, if it gets 9 degrees, 100 degrees, I feel it.
What about mentally? How has this affected you mentally, emotionally, psychologically?
So the first 3 months I feel like my body was really dealing with physical injuries. However, after pain had been managed, that's when all the psychological problems started to come in. You had the typical nightmares where I'd be waking up in the middle of the night and feeling this hormonal response where I felt like I was being ambushed again. Dreams of getting pinned down by gunfire, dreams of me pulling out a weapon, and because my hand was compromised, I would just drop the gun. All sorts of dreams of me being killed. However, there was also during my waking life plenty of moments where if there was a loud sound, like we would be going over a grate or something in a car, I would mentally know that there is no danger whatsoever. However, there would be this spasmic muscle contraction in both the limbs that would cause pain. And it would also be accompanied by that hormonal response where I would start getting sweats and all kinds of anxiety. For a long time, I didn't feel comfortable leaving the house without a gun, especially when I was around my family, because I felt like I just knew that there were people out there that if they wanted to, they could absolutely come and take their life away. And unless I had something there, they'd be able to do it. And personally, I didn't care much about my own life, but my family, I absolutely felt like dying for. At home, I mostly just tried to stay at home as much as possible. However, my relationship with my wife, I was very emotionally withdrawn. I was wooden. It was hard to have any sort of feeling of intimacy with her or anyone else. When I started, in the Marine Corps, like I had this idea of like I was gonna fight and kill and die for my country. They were worth it. They were worth it. But after the shooting, I felt this shrinking of my moral and social horizons to the point where, unless you were wearing blue, unless you were a police officer, I simply didn't trust you. I knew you were very capable of killing. There's plenty of officers who have been targeted and ambushed before. And at that point in my recovery, I was traumatized. And it wasn't just intimacy for my family, it was society as a whole that I felt cut off from. And it took a lot of heart to hearts with other officers, other friends, other family for me to regain that connection to my community, where I need to come to terms with the fact that as a police officer, we're warriors who are charged with defending a peaceful society that we are a part of. We're a part of it. And that was one of the major hurdles in the beginning. I felt completely cut off from everything, including my own wife.
All right, we're, ladies and gentlemen, both parties had agreed that you all will be allowed to leave at 4:30. So I'm going to release you all for today. We'll be back on Monday at 1:30. Remember my instructions about the parking garage. If you are here by 12:30, you will have a space. You've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to tell anyone what you've heard. You're not allowed to view anything or speak to anyone about what has happened in this courtroom. Does everyone understand? You're not allowed to do any investigation. Don't go researching anyone's name. Does everyone understand? Do not think about this case until you're back in the jury box. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you're able to be back here on Monday at 1:30.
I will be there.
All right, thank you so much. The rule has been invoked. What that means, you cannot discuss your testimony with anyone or view anything about this trial until the case has concluded. All right, thank you so much. And if you remove that square box, it goes to the court reporter. No, the square.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah, that's okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. And
Thank you.
defense, if you want to speak to one of the deputies concerning the other issue with statements made by